Hey, DJDS, Human Fountains here. We're coming at you to wish the class of 2020 a big mazel tov on graduating. A little advice before you go out in the real world. Don't let anybody tell you what you can and cannot do. When we were graduating DJDS, people looked at us crazy when we said we wanted to be professional spitters. But hey, look at us now. Our parents are semi-proud of us. Wishing you guys a big mazel tov and a go Tigers.
Denver Jewish Day School class of 2020. This is Noah Fant, Denver Broncos tight end. Just want to give you guys a huge congratulations on graduating high school. In weird times like these, I would say just enjoy this time with your family and enjoy those accomplishments. But never take those for granted because you guys worked very hard for this. I wish you guys success in all your future endeavors, and congrats again.
Congratulations, Denver Jewish Day School, class of 2020. This is Phil Lindsay from the Denver Broncos. We grew up looking forward to finishing high school, having a prom, walking the stage, and other traditions. This is hard, but we are all behind each other, and we will get through this. We will all be stronger when this is all over with. Staying positive and believing you can do anything in life are the tools to being successful in life. Remember that as you guys go through your next journey. You guys stay safe, stay positive. Take care.
Hi there, Squidward Q Tentacles here, with Q standing for quarantine. And this video is for the Denver Jewish Day School class of 2020. Folks, your graduation committee booked this video for you, so be sure to thank them for it. And congratulations on graduating. I know you can't have a graduation ceremony, but you know what? Those things are overrated. You gotta wear a hot robe, you listen to boring speeches that you'll never remember, and at the end, you throw the hat up, and you look up, and it pokes you right in the eye, and the tassel goes up your nose. It's a dangerous ceremony. So congratulations on your graduation, and good luck in the future.
I'm Irit Waldbaum, Board Chair of the Denver Jewish Day School. On behalf of the Board of Trustees, I would like to welcome all of you to our 2020 graduation ceremony. To our graduates, the class of 2020, you are graduating at such a unique time. You will always remember your high school graduation at the time of the corona. This Zoom ceremony does not diminish how proud we are of all of you, of your accomplishments, and of your future plans. I know the Denver Jewish Day School has prepared and inspired you through an extraordinary secular and Judaic education to live purposefully, act ethically, and thrive in this world. I want to thank you parents and families for their commitment to our school. Mazal tov and all my best wishes.
Good evening. I'm Avi Halzel, Head of School and CEO at Denver Jewish Day School. Bruchim Habaim, and welcome to this virtual graduation. Zoom. 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 It's a word that has been such a part of our lives recently. Now, I really enjoy cars and driving, so for me, the word Zoom used to bring up thoughts of twisting roads and soothing drives. It reminds me of a favorite lyric of mine by Rush. You can go out, you can take a ride, and when you get out on your own, you get all smoothed out inside. Of course, during the last few months, our lives have been kind of turned upside down, and we haven't had the opportunity to do many of the things that help us get all smoothed out inside. The word Zoom doesn't conjure up images of driving for me now. It brings to mind the platform that we have been using for school, for meetings, and even for this graduation ceremony. Who would have thought, just a few months ago, that our graduation ceremony would be conducted on Zoom and broadcast through YouTube, and that we wouldn't be able to celebrate together in person? That concept seemed unimaginable. I've heard much about silver linings over the past few weeks. As an eternal optimist, I tend to gravitate towards looking at the positive side of things. But graduates, I don't think it would be fair to gloss over the disappointments that have been forced upon you with the COVID-19 pandemic. We do ourselves and you a disservice by sugarcoating the situation. I want you to know that I feel badly. I'm heartbroken for you that you did not have color war in your senior year, and that you did not experience the power and closure that the Shabbaton provides as a 12th grader. I acknowledge the pain and disappointment that comes with ending your high school experience away from your friends, teachers, and the familiar surroundings of Denver Jewish Day School. The feelings you have about all of this are very real and can be akin to grieving. The Denver JDS community is here to support you now. I think that support starts with empathy and with understanding. Thankfully, there are definitely some bright spots to reflect on now. The silver linings I mentioned a moment ago. First, you, the graduating class of 2020, are incredibly unique and will remain so forever. We have been sending graduates off into the world in pretty much the same way for many years now. It all kind of blends together for me in some ways. That is, until now. The class of 2020 will forever be remembered for the unique detour you had to take in the way you handled it with such dignity, courage, and poise. I predict that this unique aspect of your experience will stay with you far into the future and will serve as something that you can leverage for the good. I am confident that you will be stronger because of what you overcame. I think Steve Jobs said it well in a graduation speech he recently gave. He said, "Think about how you, blessed with a world-class education, might act, work, and be differently when all of this is said and done. Memorialize in your heart the way in which these times reveal what really matters." Graduates, your years at Denver JDS have provided you with a unique educational experience, a sound basis upon which to build for the future. Now you must prepare to face a future that is a bit more unknown, but I am certain that you are well prepared for the challenges and opportunities that are in front of you. There will be one constant as you face that future. You will have choices, many choices, and the choices you make will ultimately define who you are and who you will become. As you move on to the next chapter in your lives, I encourage you to value new experiences, understand that you are in the driver's seat of your life, recognize that it's okay to make bold decisions, as you can always choose to change course if necessary, and always remember that your values are your greatest asset. Use your values, your midot, to help guide you to a future full of success, fulfillment, and much nachas. Mazel tov to each of you and your families. Now, I have some important acknowledgments to make. To Denver JDS board members, thank you for providing the direction and support that has sustained and strengthened our institution this year. I invite all of you to the annual meeting of our Board of Trustees on Tuesday, June 2nd at 8 a.m. on Zoom. To the faculty and staff, thank you for your tireless and remarkable work you have done in providing the uniquely rich secular and Jewish education that is so evident in our graduates tonight. Thank you also for the incredible way you pivoted to remote learning this year. It is truly an honor to work with you. And to the parents, grandparents, and family members of our graduating seniors, thank you for sincerely supporting our school and entrusting us to the education of these wonderful young people. There is a great deal of work that goes into creating a ceremony such as this, especially with the change to a virtual graduation. A huge thank you goes to Shana Friedman, Cece Lowinger, Jason Snyder, and especially to Josh Lake, who all worked so hard on the details of this graduation. Now, I am pleased to present the Glee Club, singing the Star-Spangled Banner and Hatikva from the Denver JDS 2019 graduation ceremony. Toda Rabbah.
You see by the sun's early light, what so proudly we have, and the twilight stars gleam, whose flashlights and bright stars through the perilous time, for the red we watch, was so gallantly slain, and the rockets away, God's first day. That our flag was still there, all sailors and stars sang
Good evening. I'm going to start off my speech by giving you a riddle. These are two things that have something in common. Both are hard to find, supportive, and close to my heart. I am talking about our school and a bra. There are many ways to compare these things. However, if I have to focus on one aspect they both have that is important for me at this school, is the support our school gives. One thing I've always loved is the student-teacher relationship. Not only do our teachers care about how we're doing academically, but they also care about each of us as an individual person. Teachers will ask you how things at home are or how you did at your last sports game. The teachers here have this ability to make school a fun environment to be in and one where you can trust each other. The bond and the trust that is built between students and teachers is unforgettable. Any student is able to go to a teacher and ask them for advice or tell them something exciting that happened, and they will gladly sit down with you. The bond that I have with some of my teachers is one that I am so thankful for and will never forget. I have learned that they truly care about me and how I do in life. They are excited to see not only for me, but for the rest of my class what we will do in our futures and who we will grow up to be. The bond that we have made with our teachers is so strong that even after we graduate, we will still stay in touch with our teachers because we know that they will be there for us when we need it. This is a relationship that we will never forget. We will never forget the time a teacher let us sleep in class because we didn't get any sleep the night before, or when a teacher helped us through a test we were struggling on. It is the small things that our teachers do that make the biggest impact. Something that seems so small, like asking, "How are you?" can make the biggest difference. However, these are the things we don't realize have made a big difference until they are gone. During our time in remote learning classes, I missed being able to see and talk to my teachers. I missed the teachers who I didn't have classes with and being able to talk to them. Throughout my next 4 years in college, the relationship built between my teachers is one I will never forget and I will cherish forever, because I know that these relationships and friendships is what makes our school so special. Thank you. And now I would like to introduce the Dean of Student and Faculty Affairs, Mrs. Peta Miller.
Good evening, graduates and ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, Brianna. I am honored to have been asked to present the Helena and Alan Stryker Scholarship Award for 2020. This is the second year that Denver Jewish Day School has been privileged to honor this merit-based scholarship, due solely to the generosity and kindness of Helena and Alan Stryker. Our worthy recipient will receive $2,500 to use as they choose on furthering their education in the fields of science, technology, engineering, and/or mathematics at a 4-year accredited college or university. The recipient of this year's award is someone I had the distinct pleasure of getting to know over the past 5 years. From the first day we met in my capacity as one of her 8th grade advisors, I knew this young lady possessed an exceptional mind and a level of maturity way beyond her years. As part of her application for this award, tonight's recipient wrote the following: "Resource conservation and management appeal to me greatly, and I can easily imagine a future in environmental engineering or technology development for desalination and general water purification, or cleaner and more efficient energy acquisition and storage. Likewise, I am drawn to biomedical engineering. The high point of my middle school for me was our brief anatomy unit in science class, and prothesis design occupies the incredibly appealing intersection between art, medicine, and engineering. The human body is spectacular in its capabilities, and I am perpetually excited by our capacity to, using technology, imitate the result of millennia of evolution and give someone back the use of a lost limb or even extend their life with an artificial heart valve. Whatever I end up studying, I plan to choose a field that demands creative intersection with the complexities of the concrete world. For these reasons and countless others, I can say without a shadow of a doubt, this scholarship is going to someone with an exceptional intellectual curiosity, who cares passionately about the human condition, and who will always strive to make our world a better place. Tonight's recipient has yet to decide where she will ultimately pursue the next phase of her studies, but it goes without saying that whatever academic institution she decides to attend will be fortunate indeed to count her as one of their number. Please join me in congratulating the 2020 recipient of the Helena and Alan Stryker Scholarship Award, Miss Sheera Fox. Congratulations, Sheera. Thank you. Thank you. I would now like to invite Miss Isabella Bush to come to the podium. Isabella, as you may remember, was last year's recipient of the Brian M. Hay Kesed Award for Community Service. Tonight, she is going to bestow this award on a most worthy successor. Thank you, Isabella.
Thank you. To me, Chesed is about bettering one's community. Starting at a young age, I discovered the importance of Chesed and used it as a building block for who I have become. Bettering one's day by putting a smile on their face is one of the easiest acts of kindness that I try to pursue every day. The recipient of this year's Brian M. Hay Chesed Award goes to someone who through her volunteer work was able to brighten many people's days. It is my honor and privilege to give this year's Brian M. Hay Chesed Award to Alana Jacobs. Now, I would like to introduce my friend and fellow graduate, David Raphael.
Transitioning from 8th grade to 9th grade, I was an irresponsible kid who always thought there would never be consequences for my terrible actions. I was wrong. During this period, moving from middle school to high school, I would constantly be sent to Mr. Snyder's office. At one point, I would not even go to class because I knew I'd head straight to his office. The altercations with Mr. Snyder when you are in trouble are frightening because his first words for you are, "Do you know why you're in here?" When you tell him what you might think the problem is, he will nod and say, "Thanks for bringing that to my attention, but that's not why." His wording and seriousness traps you into breaking down and naming many more problems. Over the years, the fear disappeared, and taking his class taught me that Mr. Snyder has a bright side to him too as well. At the Shabbaton, my fellow classmates and I imitated Mr. Snyder's AP US History class, which got the whole school laughing and giggling nonstop. But when I looked over in the back and Mr. Snyder had a serious face, not laughing at all, I instantly thought that I would have to see him in the office. After the gig was over, Mr. Snyder came over to me and said, "Wow, great job. That's the best impression I've seen of me." The legendary quote Mr. Snyder will be remembered for in the Hall of Fame of DJDS will be "Wolf by the ears." As Thomas Jefferson once said, the lesson from this story is that Mr. Snyder is truly an amazing teacher who always pushes everyone to their best. I now introduce everyone to Mr. Jason Snyder.
Thanks, David. It's always humbling to have a student do your introduction, especially when they do an impersonation. Earlier this month, I wrote that it's tough to put the plight of the seniors into context vis-a-vis COVID-19. They have not gotten seriously ill or died. They have not lost their jobs. They have not lost fortunes that took a lifetime to make. These, as we all know, have been the most serious consequences of this global pandemic. That said, these seniors have sacrificed for others in a very real way. Belonging to a statistical demographic that was likely to be relatively unharmed, they have forsaken events and traditions that they have waited years for. They have given up the opportunity to celebrate their school careers in a way that they will never be able to get back. In a society that sometimes tends to generalize teenagers as superficial and selfish, it is incumbent upon all of us to be grateful and honor this sacrifice. Seniors, we know we can't give you back your senior year. I am profoundly disappointed that we could not celebrate together tonight. We are all grateful for your sacrifice. Tonight, however, is the night to honor our seniors and their families for far more than just their sacrifice of the past few months. These young men and women have spent the last 13 years working exceedingly hard to be at this moment. They have achieved great things and, more importantly, grown into fine people. I now have the almost quixotic task of trying to explain the essence, the quiddity, of these 16 wonderful people in 60 to 90 seconds each. We will begin with Adiv Averch. Adiv came to us for his sophomore year of high school, and he quickly acclimated well due to his quirky sense of humor, self-deprecating nature, and his gift for language. This gift of language became readily apparent when Adiv emailed me about a summer assignment during his first summer as a Denver JDS student, which, lucky boy, he got to spend in London. Here's an excerpt. I was carrying around my bag in London one day, and I was like, why on earth is my bag so heavy? A bag of this size should not weigh more than an elephant's toe, but right now it feels like I'm carrying the whole elephant. So I opened up my bag and found this foreign object. This mystical object looked like it was of reasonable size, but I quickly found it to be an immovable object. Then I remembered. The object of a reasonable size but immeasurable weight was my AP history textbook. I thought for several moments, thinking, what was I supposed to do with this unforgiving mass? Alas, I figured that I was supposed to use this book to gain knowledge. With this new thought in my head, I opened the textbook to the middle of the book and placed my head upon the pages until my eyes could not stay open any longer. In the morning, I awoke with an overwhelming sense of joy. I now have all the knowledge I need from this textbook just from sleeping upon it. But it did not turn out to be that way, you see. I didn't gain the knowledge from the textbook, but instead a night's sleep that left a crook in my neck. So I looked to you in guidance of what I should do with this textbook. Please remember that this email came to me before Adiv ever set foot in Denver JDS as a student. With this one email, Adiv's confidence, eloquence, and fantastic sense of humor are encapsulated. Adiv, because of his maturity, has the unique ability to be both silly and serious depending on the situation. He has the soul of a poet combined with the humor of a stand-up comedian. As he has matured, he has worked harder in his studies and finished his final semester with a 4.0, which he was sure to point out to me. Adiv will undoubtedly next year take his maturity and quirky sense of humor to Bridgewater State University and continue to impress all that he meets. Congratulations, Adiv. Brianna Bergman. Brianna's classmates describe her as sweet, loyal, dedicated, and determined. In her time in the upper division, I've gotten to know Brianna quite well, and I certainly believe those comments are reflective of her personality. Most everyone who has gotten to know Brianna, even a little bit, has had the experience of being greeted with that sweet smile and some kind words. Brianna's sweet disposition and kind nature can be further seen in her love for dogs. I think Brianna would rather spend time with her dogs, maybe any dog, than just about any person. Now, despite Brianna's sweet and kind disposition, she does defend herself and loved ones fiercely when facing adversity. Brianna has had to deal with more than her share of challenges, both inside and outside of school. In every case, Brianna has dealt with these challenges with a fierce determination to persevere, excuse me, as well as a grace that is admirable. I got to see this fierce determination firsthand this year when I coached Brianna in basketball. No matter what the score or how much better an opponent was, Brianna would always refuse to back down and played with a toughness that I know will serve her well in later life. Finally, Brianna has expressed that her career ambition is to be a nurse. I recently saw a quote that read, "A nurse is a person who is strong enough to tolerate anything and soft enough to understand everyone." If that quote is accurate, I can't imagine a better person to become a nurse. Brianna has proven that she is strong enough to handle whatever adversity comes her way and is caring and kind enough to be understanding to everyone. Next year, Brianna takes this wonderful mixture of strength and kindness to Bradley University. Congratulations, Brianna. Isabella Busch. Isabella Busch was described by one of her classmates who had a flair for the literal as short. I'm certain that that person was only referring to Isabella's physical stature. It's hard to tell virtually, but Isabella is what some might describe as vertically challenged. So that does make some sense. This is, however, the only way that anyone could ever describe Isabella as short. This is because both Isabella's character and leadership are very formidable indeed. Isabella is one of the most positive people that I have ever come across and is mature beyond her years. This is reflected in her being named senior class co-president for our school. Much of the reason that Isabella is held in such high esteem by both students and faculty alike is that she is a problem solver. As the ramifications of the coronavirus were playing out in the spring of this year, Isabella did not merely complain or bemoan lost opportunities. She came to me as a collaborative partner to make sure as much of her senior year could be salvaged as possible. She recognized the gravity of the situation and attempted to be proactive, the definition of a true leader. Unfortunately, as we all know, there was much about this pandemic that was beyond our control. This lack of control, however, did not diminish Isabella's work ethic and maturity. She continued to work with me to determine how to best move forward. Her unwillingness to wallow in self-pity and her determination to be proactive will always stand out to me. This positive nature and her willingness to solve problems will undoubtedly serve her well in later life. Isabella will attend San Diego State next year, and I'm quite confident her impact on the world will continue to be great. Sheera Fox. Our beloved AP history teacher, Dr. GT, started the tradition last year of handing out class awards. Sheera received the somewhat dubious honor of earning the Jason Snyder Critical Thinking Award. Well, I would be the first to acknowledge that winning the Snyder Critical Thinking Award is not likely the highlight of anyone's career. There is no question that Sheera deserves any and all awards that she gets for critical thinking. Sheera's classmates describe her as quiet and kind, concerned and mature. All of these are certainly admirable qualities, but I do think it is Sheera's critical thinking that is the attribute that stands out most about her. In every situation in which Sheera finds herself, she quietly analyzes the situation thoughtfully and critically. These thoughtful observations often lend themselves to wry comments or sardonic jokes. Despite having this critical eye and quick wit, however, Sheera is never cruel or condescending to her classmates. Rather, her keen eye and strong observational powers fuel a strong sense of justice. This sense of justice is often accompanied with a call to action. As the leader of this school community, I have often found myself and some of the decisions that I have made as an institution under the scrutiny of Sheera's sense of justice. In every case, however, Sheera's questions came from a place of care for the institution and its students. Indeed, we are a better place for Sheera having gone to school here, and would be better still if more students were like Sheera. Sheera is still undecided about what her future holds after high school, but I have no question that as Sheera leaves our relatively small bubble, she will continue to use her strong critical thinking skills and sense of justice to push those around her to be better. Good luck with everything, Sheera. Isaiah Friedman. In my office, I have a gift from a former student. It is a small drawing that reads, "Those who say the deed cannot be done should not interrupt those who are doing it." As I reflect on Isaiah's character, that quote comes readily to mind. In fact, the surest way to ensure that Isaiah will do something is to tell him that he can't do it. Isaiah is sweet and kind and would do anything for those he cares about. This sweet disposition, however, belies a fierce character. When I had the pleasure of teaching Isaiah in AP European history, I had the opportunity to witness Isaiah's passion firsthand. As one might expect, discussions in that class often delved into the political. Isaiah was an ardent participant in that class, fiercely defending his notion of social justice and for those who he believed were marginalized by larger society. The great English writer Aldous Huxley writes, "Those who believe themselves exclusively into the right are generally those who achieve something." That is not to say that Isaiah is closed-minded and unwilling to learn. To be sure, he was one of the more inquisitive students that I have ever taught, always wanting to learn more. That said, when Isaiah believes that he has all the facts, he becomes a tenacious advocate for truth and justice. There is no question that Isaiah will not only achieve something, he will achieve many important things. Isaiah's determination is so great that I am as sure of his ability to do important work in the world as any student that I have ever taught. Next year, Isaiah will take his strong will and sense of social justice to Long Island, New York, where he will attend Hofstra University. I look forward to the first time when someone at Hofstra tells Isaiah that he cannot do something. Isaiah, good luck with everything. Sarah Green. Sarah Green is one of those students that make it worthwhile to teach at a school like Denver JDS. While I enjoy getting to know all my students, it is the small size and unique nature of our school that allows me to truly get to know Sarah. Now, Sarah has many strong qualities, and I'm sure she would have been successful anywhere. But had we both been at a bigger institution, I likely would have not gotten to know Sarah as well, and it would have been my loss. Sarah is quiet and introverted and can be difficult to get to know quickly. When I first taught Sarah, she was so quiet in class that I was afraid she didn't like the class or me personally. As we grew more comfortable, however, I saw what her classmates had learned years ago. Sarah has a keen mind, fantastic observational powers, and a sweet disposition. Most importantly, Sarah's quiet, introspective nature belies her great strength. This great strength is manifest in several ways. During her high school career, Sarah took up CrossFit and quickly became amazing at this sport. Her classmates talk with amazement about how strong she has become. She quickly and routinely set and then broke personal records. CrossFit is a perfect example of Sarah's character. It's not the flashy of sports. There are no CrossFit athletes that are household names. It is a sport, however, that requires commitment, determination, and character. Sarah is not the flashy of students. There are those who will stand out quicker upon first meeting them. She is, however, one of the most dependable and one of the most high character students we have ever had. Next year, Sarah will take her inner strength to the University of Colorado at Colorado Springs. We wish her the best of luck with everything. I now introduce Isaiah Friedman and Eitan Kohavi to give the graduation Devar Torah.
Last Saturday, we read the Torah portions, Vihar and Bechukotai, which are the end of the book of Vayikra. During the Torah portions, we learned that we are not allowed to lend money with interest to anyone, nor receive money with interest to be paid later. We are also commanded not to give anyone food for an increased payment.
It says, Al tikach me'ito neshech v'tarbit, you shall not take from him interest or increase, and et kaspecha lo titen lo b'neshech u'betarbit, you shall not give him your money with interest or increase. During a time where price gouging has become the norm and many people are stuck without healthcare or masks, it is important to remember that we cannot cheat anyone out and that each person deserves to be treated equally.
This pandemic has shown us that we are all vulnerable and we need to work together in order to succeed. And the Torah teaches us that by treating each other with compassion, we can find the strength to beat out our lowest points. Here it teaches us that we are strongest when we work as a community and when we encourage and help one another.
At the end of each book of the Torah, we read the phrase, Chazak, Chazak, V'nit Chazek, which means be strong, and we will be encouraged. This message of strength and encouragement is extremely relevant today.
It has not been easy for any of us to stay home and keep the community safe. The class of 2020 has missed out on some of the things that make Denver Jewish Day School special, such as our senior color war and our final Shabbaton.
But we have also seen a side of DJDS that many past graduates have never experienced. Our teachers have put in so much effort to make sure that we were able to learn everything we could despite being out of school and making the events that we could keep as special as possible. It hasn't been easy to persevere in the most uncertain time in our lives.
On top of the unknowns coronavirus presents, we are about to move into a new chapter in our lives. Picking a college has been one of the most difficult decisions in our lives so far. We are leaving the comfort of Denver JDS for the unknowns of the real world, and it is nerve-wracking.
5 times a year, we mention the phrase, Chazak, Chazak, V'nit Chazek, and we are reminded to continue to persevere despite the unknowns that lie before us. We as a class are ready for the next steps we have to take, and we are going to take them with pride, strength, and determination.
So, as we move into the next chapter of our lives, we say Chazak, Chazak, V'nit Chazek, knowing that moving on doesn't mean we have to leave Denver JDS behind. Now, I'd like to introduce our friend and fellow graduate, Alexandre Kaufman.
When I first came back to Denver JDS in 8th grade, I felt that I was not being challenged in some of my classes. My family and I went to Mr. Snyder to figure out the best course of action for me. Not only did he help me switch into a more challenging math class for the rest of the year, but he also helped me figure out my own unique plan for my studies. This unique plan is what has made my experience so special. I've been able to take classes with older students for most of high school, leaving me with the freedom to choose what I wanted to study this year. One of those classes was an independent study with Mr. Snyder himself, where I got to take AP World History, a class not even usually offered at our school. One of the most special things about Denver JDS is its ability to accommodate everyone so they can have their best educational experience. And Mr. Snyder was the one who did this for me. I now introduce Mr. Jason Snyder.
Thank you, Alexandra. Thank you, Alexandra. My next graduate happens to be Alexandre Kaufman. Obviously, that conversation was memorable because I too have referenced it in my speech for you. The Dalai Lama writes, "The goal is not to be better than the other man, but your previous self." My first real interaction with Alexandra, as she described, came during her 8th grade year. Alexandra had just transferred back to Denver JDS from public school and was considering her options for high school. She wanted to meet with me to discuss her class options. She recognized that our program was rigorous, but Alexandra wanted to do more. She wanted to be pushed and be made into her best self. Alexandra is quiet, but she is fiercely ambitious and wants, at all times, to be this best version of herself. Her classmates almost unanimously describe her as one of the smartest people that they have ever met. Excuse me. This is further manifest by the fact that Alexandra excels in both the math sciences as well as the humanities. Despite this natural intelligence, Alexandra is very humble and never uses her gift to embarrass anyone or make them feel small. She further has not taken this gift for granted and consistently takes the most rigorous classes our school offers, and will create independent studies for herself when she wants a greater challenge still. Beyond her sharp character and quiet ambition, Alexandra also has outstanding character. She is sweet and kind, and other than the occasional frustration from teachers who wish that she would speak up more in class, I've honestly never heard anyone in our community say a bad thing about Alexandra. Alexandra has even worked on her perfectionist tendencies in an effort to be her best self. She has pushed herself to be more spontaneous and outgoing. Next year, Alexandra will matriculate to Brandeis University, where she will, no doubt, continue to push herself to be the best iteration of Alexandra that she could possibly be. Eitan Kohavi. Eitan is remembered for a lot of things. He is remembered for leading the basketball team to the best season in the school's history. He is remembered for being successful in the classroom. He is also remembered for mysteriously getting lost on the 10th grade hip trip. Eitan on paper is very accomplished. Interestingly, however, when he was asked to reflect on the thing for which he was most proud, he wrote, "I am most proud of being able to stay confident and happy throughout middle school and high school, and that I graduate having regret for very little. I was able to try so many things and get to be a part of each aspect of high school." This is reflective of Eitan's character in that he finds more importance in the journey, in getting to know others, than he does for any specific or individual accomplishment. All of you who are close to Eitan know he is always one to wear his emotions on his sleeve. You know when Eitan is happy, you know when he is frustrated, and you know when he is sad. It is refreshing to see a young man who is so in touch with his emotions. Eitan is always authentically Eitan. This is why he is so well liked by all who come to know him. He is a fierce competitor on the field or court, but a very gentle soul off of the court. This, ultimately, is likely what Eitan will be remembered for most by the Denver JDS community. Despite his many accomplishments, Eitan will be remembered for having a wonderful soul, being a person that others want to genuinely be around, a person who makes others happy just for knowing him. Not bad accomplishments indeed. Next year, Eitan will attend the University of Colorado at Boulder, where he will be part of the honors program, and where I'm sure he will continue to be loved by all who know him. Elon Perryman. Abraham Lincoln famously remarked that I would rather be quiet and thought of a fool than open my mouth and remove all doubt. This is an appropriate quote for Elon. He is initially quiet and unassuming. This relative silence, however, has less to do with Elon lacking something meaningful to say and much more due to his humility and character. In fact, those who know Elon well know that he is one of the funniest students in the school, offering a wry observation or funny comment on a situation. To this end, most of Elon's classmates mentioned his sense of humor as one of the most notable things about him. This keen sense of humor also comes from a strong intellect. Many teachers can recall leading a discussion for which Elon remained silent for most of the time, only for Elin to offer a final comment, which turns out to be the most insightful thing that was said all of class. It is also apropos to use a Lincoln quote for a reflection about Elin, because Elin is also known for his character. Elin almost never complains and simply goes about his business in a matter-of-fact way, which reflects both his character and maturity. Elin's teachers consistently reflect what a pleasure he was to have in class. Elin has never had any disciplinary issues. Whether things are going well for Elin or whether it is a time of struggle for him, he always maintains a quiet and calm disposition. This combination of high character, strong intellect, and sense of humor makes Elin truly impressive to know. Next year, Elin will attend Trinity University, where he will continue to impress all with his strong character and sense of humor. Good luck, Elin. David Raphael. David, I was tempted to do the voice, but even though it's supposed to be an impersonation of me, I'm not sure I can quite pull it off the way you did. For David's speech, I searched for a Cristiano Ronaldo quote. David was such a fan of Cristiano Ronaldo that he actually went out of his way throughout high school to try to look as much like Ronaldo as possible. And as much as I hate to admit it, he kind of sort of pulled it off. Unfortunately, Ronaldo may be a wonderful soccer player, but he's not the most quotable person. That's okay, because there's plenty to say about David, even without the Ronaldo quote. David is one of those students that no matter how mischievous that he's been, you simply cannot stay mad at. He has this ineffable charm that just makes him likable. No matter what he has said or done, David just smiles with a twinkle in his eye, and you can't stay mad at him. Good thing you didn't know that in middle school, David, or I might have been in trouble. David, of course, is more than just pure charm. He is bright, athletic, and has this wonderful sense of humor. David consistently pushed himself by taking our most rigorous courses, was the star of the soccer team, as well as a starter on the basketball team in his only season of varsity basketball. Moreover, David's friends consistently describe him as one of the funniest people they know. Now, I've never met Cristiano Ronaldo personally, and I know that he is a huge star, but I think I would have still preferred to know Raphael than Ronaldo. David is just a good person. He will take both his charm and his talent to the University of Colorado at Boulder next year. We wish him the best of luck. Shamon Silberman. Shamon is described almost unanimously by her classmates as lively, adventurous, and consistently fun to be around. This side of Shannon is easy to see as one walks through the hallways of our school. Like anyone else, Shannon has had her share of challenges and bad days, and when something didn't go her way, you certainly knew it. Most of the time, however, she largely and consistently brightened the mood of all who knew her. She lives her life in an emotionally honest way, and it is a joy for others to be around. I got to witness this firsthand on the basketball team this year. As coach, before the season, I met with all of the players to discuss their goals. Shannon told me, yeah, I want to win and get better and all that, but mostly, I want to have fun. Indeed. I hope, Shannon, that you did have fun, because your approach made the season much more fun for everyone else, including me. Without knowing Shannon, one might get the picture from this description that she was enjoyable, but did not have a tremendous amount of depth. This is simply not true. She consistently has pushed herself academically by taking most of the rigorous courses that we offer. The most impressive thing about Shannon, however, is that she has a great deal of empathy. This is one of the reasons why she is such a strong leader. She relates well to everyone. She is a loyal friend, classmate, and teammate. She improves the quality of life for those around her. Next year, Shannon will take a gap year to Israel and then move on to the University of Wisconsin in Madison, where, without question, she will continue to make life brighter for those around her. Now, To introduce the Director of Judaic Studies, Mr. Benjamin Levy, is Adiv Averch.
One of my earliest memories at Denver Jewish Day School is the State of Israel class. Now, I don't mean to toot my own horn, but I was the top of the class. I got the best grades on tests, the best grades on assignments, and I studied harder for the class than I did for any others, which is exactly the reason why I finished with the C+. However, the teacher of this class became one of my favorites. I would speak to him about coffee, Seattle, coding, and so much more. Now, you may be wondering what made this teacher so great. The answer is that they are one of the few people as sarcastic as me. But he's not just sarcastic, he is also one of the most interesting people I know. He's able to transition from talking about Judaics and Mut Beit Din to gerrymandering in 28 states, then to computer science, and back to Judaics without skipping a beat. I know only one person who holds these traits, and that is Mr. Benjamin Levy.
Thank you, Adiv. Every year, we recognize those students who have opted to take a more challenging path through our Judaic Studies program. By selecting and excelling in a variety of honors level courses in Talmud, Jewish law, and Jewish history, while maintaining top marks in those courses, students can graduate with distinction in Judaic Studies. I like to start my introduction to the graduates receiving this distinction with the last Mishnah of chapter 5 of Pirkei Avot. Ben Hehe said, "According to the effort is the reward." This pithy line is possibly the earliest statement of no pain, no gain, and is an obvious way to introduce students who took on more challenging work and are now receiving their reward. As I sat writing this speech, however, a few things have jumped out at me. First, is it really that much of a reward to listen to me talk, or to have a piece of colored cord draped over your shoulders? Also, the Aramaic word for effort used in the Mishnah is sa'ara, which is better translated as pain, which is markedly different from hard work. The reward isn't a gold star or a cord. The reward is the extra knowledge you have gained and the feeling of accomplishment you get when you push yourself to reach lofty goals. The pain is the difficulty you undertook by taking classes that challenged your abilities in order to lift you to a higher level, because as the commentaries teach us, that which is learned through struggle is retained, while that which is learned with ease is just as easily forgotten. The preceding Mishnah seems to be a better way to start things off this evening. It begins, Ben Bagbag said, "Turn it and turn it again, for all is in it." Unique for the class of 2020, the end of your high school career is not just a time of transition for you, but for the entire world. There is no longer any such thing as the way things have always been done. You will all play a key role in shaping this new future, looking at the wisdom of the past, turning it again and again, until you find new meanings and new ideas. For it's all there, you just have to look for it, and according to the effort will be the reward. The following students have been awarded distinction in Judaic Studies: Isabella Busch, Sheera Fox, Alexandre Kaufman, and Eitan Kochavi. Congratulations. Our Tzedek program aims to help students develop an approach to their role in the world with mindfulness and compassion through taking a course of study about the Jewish values of justice, advocacy, and a commitment to service. The past 2 months have thrown the need for such competencies and passions into sharp relief, for without those committed to pursuing justice and spreading compassion, our world might be too far adrift to ever recover. It is just about 8 o'clock right now, and in just a moment, people will be going outside their homes to howl for those who put the needs of others before their own. Tonight, those howls are for you as well. The following students are graduating with distinction in Tzedek: Adiv Averch, Brianna Bergman, Isabella Busch, Sheera Fox, Isaiah Friedman, Sarah Green, Alexandre Kaufman, and Shamon Silberman. Congratulations, all of you. Now I'd like to hand things back to Mr. Snyder one last time.
Thank you, Mr. Levy. We'll now continue with the senior presentations with Tyler Weitzenfeld. Tyler Weitzenfeld is indisputably, without question, his own man. I know I share with his parents and his teachers the experience of trying to get him to do something that he doesn't want to do. It's not that it's difficult, it's that it's impossible. Well, this experience can be frustrating. It is ultimately what is so impressive about Tyler. What you see from him is completely authentic. This sincerity is why his classmates describe him as principled and a true leader. Beyond his strong will, Tyler is bright, athletic, and charming when he chooses to be. Most of us have had the experience of being frustrated by Tyler and then disarmed by his 1,000-watt smile. This charm extends to Tyler's wonderful sense of humor. Because Tyler is so direct with people, he has the ability to put his finger on the ridiculousness of any given situation. This is almost always said without emotion or malice, just matter-of-factly. In one memorable instance this year, Tyler was playing on the basketball team, and the team was suffering from an unusually incompetent referee. Without being angry or overreacting, Tyler just calmly walked over to him and said, "Dude, you're killing us." While Tyler is both direct and matter-of-fact, he can also have a very sensitive side. During our intensive program this year, I was walking around checking on how things were progressing, and I came upon Tyler's intensive, which was a mix of high school and middle schoolers. As it was the end of the day, most of the high schoolers had checked out for the day and were either taking a nap or on their phones. Tyler, though, was dutifully and sincerely helping a 6th grade girl prepare for her oral presentation as she looked on with rapt attention. This girl was enthralled with Tyler's feedback, and there was no question that his advice resonated with her. He didn't have to help her. He chose to. Not because the teacher thought it was important, because Tyler thought it was important. Next year, Tyler will attend Creighton University, where I have no doubt that he will become unequivocally, and for the best, Tyler at all times. Jason Wise. Jason is one of the rarest of all commodities. He is an iconoclast who sets his own style and walks to the beat of his own drummer. He is also an incredibly empathetic young man who cares as much for others as he does for himself. Jason's attitude towards high school and his studies could be described as ambivalent at some points this year, and he became frustrated by having to do things when he didn't see the point. Jason's classmates, however, describe him as funny, loving, and charismatic. It is clear that despite being this iconoclast, Jason is still well loved by all around him. And the reason why he is so well loved is because he cares so much for those around him. There are 2 wonderful incidents that illustrate this. Both of these are, in of themselves, small incidents. But both of these supposedly small things illustrate what huge character Jason has. One was also during intensive week. Jason was paired during his intensive with a middle school girl. Jason recognized that this young lady was struggling with the work because of her learning differences. Rather than being frustrated by having to assume this extra burden and simply checking out or complaining, Jason went to Mrs. Miller and asked for advice on how to work with this young lady and help her have the best experience possible. Truly, there are few teenagers that I know that would have shown this level of care. The second incident came just about 1 month ago. As we made the shift to remote learning, I met weekly with all of the high schoolers to check in and disseminate important information. I'd always begin in each call with an inquiry as to how each student was doing. I would then answer questions about our program and the future. When I met with the seniors, they were almost always, understandably, focused on important events to them, such as Color War, the Shabbaton, and graduation. Early on, however, Jason asked how I was doing. Throughout all of my meetings with all of these students, grades 9 through 12, Jason was the only student who ever asked how I was. It was a small act of kindness that says volumes about Jason's character. I will truly remember this Jason for a long, long time. Next year, Jason will matriculate to the University of Colorado. Jason, I hope you do attend classes and take advantage of their academic program. Most importantly, however, I hope you continue being the kind and gentle soul that we all know you to be. Good luck. Sheera Wall Poe. Sheera will be remembered for many things. She is creative, unique, and passionate about movies. As anyone who knows Sheera will tell you, she is exceedingly knowledgeable about the cinema. As one of her classmates remarked, if you ever want to know anything about any movie ever, ask Sheera. She knows everything about movies. Two of the reasons that Sheera is so articulate and knowledgeable about these movies is that she is naturally creative, and most importantly, she has the soul of an artist. This artistic soul is manifest in more than just knowledge about movies. She is also an accomplished visual artist. The great French artist Henri Matisse writes that creativity takes courage. And it is clear by the way Sheera lives her life that she does have the courage of an artist. In this way, she is daring with her fashion, her art, and she lives her life without worrying about what anyone else thinks of her. To be sure, Sheera is genuinely polite and respectful, but it's clear that she is passionate about the things that are important to her, irrespective of anyone or anything else. The great German philosopher G.W.F. Hegel wrote, "Nothing of great importance happens without passion." If Hegel is in fact correct, Sheera will without question achieve things of great importance. Next year, Sheera will continue to blaze her own path by being the first Denver Jewish Day School graduate to attend the University of Hawaii. She will no doubt bring her creativity and passion to our 50th state. Benjamin Wall Poe. Benjamin is one of the most easygoing, good-natured students in the senior class. He always has a smile on his face, rarely complains, and is liked by just about everyone around him. His classmates unanimously compliment him on how funny and likable he is. It is instructive to read, in fact, just how many of Benjamin's classmates remark how much fun that they had with Benjamin in a specific class. This likability, however, is more than just a pleasant and superficial disposition. Benjamin's character is of exceedingly high quality, and he has a great inner strength. Many high school boys who are known by their classmates for their sense of humor often find themselves on the wrong side of teachers and wind up making many trips to the dean's office. Benjamin, though, again, very funny, managed to avoid such pitfalls because he was never mean and had the maturity and character to be funny in a way that wasn't distracting to his teacher or classmates. When asked to describe of what he was most proud, Benjamin did not mention his academic or other personal achievements. Rather, Benjamin described the mishpacha, the family that he had created at Denver JDS. He recognized that it is not the accomplishments that we earn, it is the relationships that we form that are most important. In fact, one of Benjamin's fellow classmates went out of her way to tell me that a Shabbatogram that he wrote to her in middle school ranked as one of her most important moments at the school. For a Shabbatogram to have that kind of impact on a fellow classmate is truly a testament to Benjamin's sensitivity. Next year, Benjamin will attend Texas A&M University, and I have no doubt that he will continue to impress all with his character, sensitivity, and sense of humor. Good luck, Benjamin. Avi Yelshevitz. Avi is athletic, fun-loving, and charming. He has a wonderful sense of humor and mischievous twinkle in his eye. He is fun to be around, and I have enjoyed every interaction that I have had with him, even the time when he almost got me killed in the Washington Metro station on the 11th grade class trip. This fun-loving nature, however, masks the tremendous responsibility that Avi has to bear, far greater than most of our students. When Avi first came to our school as a sophomore, he had just immigrated from Israel. When he first came to our school, he was fluent in both Hebrew and Russian. His English, however, was a work in progress. Coming to a new school as a transfer student in the middle of high school would be daunting for anyone, much less a young man who has had to navigate learning a third language. Beyond adapting to a new culture and learning a new language, Avi has also had tremendous family responsibilities. Coming from a large extended family, Avi has often taken on the role of patriarch, taking on responsibilities of someone of far greater age. Despite these additional challenges, Avi has still been quite successful, taking advanced courses and earning strong grades. Moreover, Avi handled these additional challenges without seeming unnecessarily burdened. He maintained that easy smile and cheerful disposition. In many ways, Avi's accomplishments were as impressive as any graduate in the country. Next year, Avi will matriculate to the University of Colorado at Boulder. I'm sure that college will present additional challenges, but Avi has already proven that he can adapt to any challenge that life may bring. Class of 2020, please bring up your screens. Ladies and gentlemen, it is now my distinct honor to present the Denver Jewish Day School Class of 2020. Please all move your tassels to the left. In a typical graduation year, at this point, the audience would give you all a well-earned standing ovation. Graduates, please know that all of us who have had the pleasure of getting to know you are now applauding with all of our hearts and souls. The world will become richer as you go off and continue to do wonderful things, but our school will be diminished without you next year. We now have one final tribute to the class of 2020.
To the class of 2020, you are a remarkable bunch of people. You have done something amazing. You have lived in a world that has not turned out the way that you expected it to. But amazingly, you have kept moving forward and kept striving to be your best. You are disappointed, upset, confused, and sad, because this is not how the last 3 months of your senior year were supposed to be. You have lost the things you most look forward to in this year, but amazingly, you have done so with grace and dignity. You have had to say goodbye to high school much sooner than you anticipated. But amazingly, you continue to brighten our lives without being in them daily. Your tachlit and devotion to making as many memories as you can shines through in your actions. We see your pain, and we see your perseverance in a tough time. We want you to know you are always in our hearts. We will miss you, and we will have a chance to hug you again to show you how much we care. Maya Angelou once said, "You may encounter many defeats, but you must not be defeated." In fact, it may be necessary to encounter defeats so that you can know who you are, what you can rise from, and how you can still come out of it. There is wisdom in her words. You see,
Life is not an endless series of pleasant experiences. We all learn from adversity. We learn about our character, our resolve, our yosher, and we develop plans to move us forward. Hang in there, graduates, and don't make excuses. Make adaptations and grow stronger. Even though it is hard at times like these, remember how lucky you are. Keep trying hard things and continue to work in a spirit of generosity. We know that your chesed and your sakranut will drive you to become more than anyone expected in the face of this adversity. We are proud of your dedication and resolve. We admire your ability to face adversity and to keep moving forward. We see the determination, the desire, the embodiment of mishpacha in you and in your desire to make the best of this time. We see you creating new ways to connect with your kehillah. While it may not be the senior year ending that you had dreamed of, it will be your senior year, unique among your peers, and you will reap the rewards. You have, amazingly, shown us ways to handle the unexpected events and how to gently turn the bad into good. Remember the wise words of Winnie the Pooh. You are braver than you believe, stronger than you seem, smarter than you think, and loved more than you will ever know. Good luck, class of 2020. You have such a bright future ahead of you, and we all know you will do many more amazing things.
As a middle schooler, the wise upperclassman told me that the best way to get by at Denver Jewish Day School is to be friends with Jerry. I quickly realized how right they were. Jerry is always there to put a smile on our faces. I learned this for the first time on our class trip to Durango. Since 8th grade, I've worked with Jerry on student council, had him as a teacher and a coach. But not until senior year did I realize how vital Jerry is to Denver Jewish Day School. He is the fire that keeps the Denver JDS flame burning, and I'm so proud to introduce Jerry Rotenberg at my senior graduation to deliver the final prayer.
Thank you, Izzy. It's hard to say if it's better to be the first speaker or the last. I'm supposed to wrap it all up, a quick story and a prayer. Tonight, I think all the stories have been told. I don't want to repeat another virus story, and certainly don't want to repeat how difficult this year has been for our graduates. So let me finish tonight's graduation with a quick lesson. People sometimes make mistakes. It happens to everyone. When something happens, it's not the mistake that we should focus on. Rather, it's how we recover from it. It's what we learn from mistakes. If I were going to list all our mistakes, I'm not sure anyone here would be interested, and I would see a blank screen on my computer. However, I want to share with you what I learned after a huge mistake, a mistake that could have been a disaster. It might have even changed this ceremony. It was 5 years ago, about the same time of year. The bus driver who was responsible for driving our 8th grade class to all destinations needed. When we reached the magical city of Durango, all our driver needed to do was make a right-hand turn. Granted, the street was narrow, but he had been making right-hand turns since we left Denver that morning. I didn't think one more would make a difference. Well, it did. I don't recall all the specifics, and not being a physics teacher, can't tell you the math and science involved in the problem, but we got stuck in a ditch. The mistake was made. From that moment on, I met this class, minus a few more that joined through the years. This group turned that mistake into one of the most memorable class bonding moments I've ever witnessed. As everyone got off the bus, they realized we weren't going anywhere. Instead of getting angry, they laughed, they played, pictures were taken, plenty of jokes were told. As the adults were worried, this amazing group of young people saw the situation and made it into something positive. At that moment, I saw the direction this class was going. In Pirkei Avot, Ethics of Our Fathers, it teaches, Rabbi Meir Omer, Al tistakel bikankan, ela v'ma sheyesh bo. Rabbi Meir teaches, do not look at the vessel, but rather at what it contains. We have been watching this group go through life. Yes, I know there were other mistakes made in 8th grade and in high school. And I'm also including what has happened in our world in the past years. Whatever has come to you, whatever issues, viruses, or even a teacher's parent you met in LA, you've learned, you've grown, and now you're ready to take this knowledge into your future. I speak for everyone, family, friends, teachers, and coaches. We can't wait to see where your future leads you. I want to finish the graduation ceremony with a prayer for our graduates. It comes from the Jewish Traveler's Prayer. I know I didn't go on with you on a lot of trips, but you were always in my mind and in my heart. May it be your will, Lord our God and the God of our ancestors, that you lead this graduating class of 2020 towards peace. Guide their footsteps towards peace and make them reach their desired destinations for life, gladness, and peace. May you rescue them from the hand of every foe and from all manner of punishments that come to earth. May you send blessings to them and grant them grace, kindness, and mercy in your eyes and in the eyes of all who see them. May you hear the words of this humble request, because you are God who hears prayers. Amen. I